Miss Thompson, I don't think I've ever met you. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure, Your Honor.
What county are you out of or region?
8.
Okay. Thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you. My understanding is that we don't have service. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Greenlee has given me a reset date of 9/17 at 9:30.
Your Honor, I am not able to be here at 9:30 on 9/17.
Where will you be on 9/17?
I will be in a hospital setting.
Okay. Do you have coverage for that day already for any of your other cases?
I didn't have anything set that day.
Okay. Do you think you could get coverage for that day?
I can try.
Okay, if you can't get coverage, we'll pick another date and time unless, I mean, it's a court order services case, so we need to have it set within a pretty quick time period.
Do you have anything in the afternoon? I'm available in the afternoon.
Miss Greenlee, do we have anything that day in the afternoon?
We don't have anything in the afternoon. We have a 10 and a 10:30 right now, but we don't have anything in the afternoon.
About 1:30.
It's open. We can set it.
Miss Fuller?
Yes, I'll be available at 1:30, Your Honor.
All right. Then I'm not even going to call it. Just get me a reset order if you would, please. Somebody just logged in. Let me see who this is. Let's make sure we don't have the mother here. Hello, the person that just called in on an 830 number ending in 000. Can you please identify yourself?
Good morning. My name is Vanessa Campos. I'm the paternal grandmother for Aslan.
Okay. Do you know where Miss Ivada is?
No, I do not.
Okay. We're going to have to reset this case because we don't have service on Miss Ivada.
Your Honor, I did speak with her mother, and they had no idea about the hearing today. I've not spoken with Miss Ivana, but I sent her mother the information and Mr. Cabrera's information so she can give it to her daughter, but they weren't aware of the.
Okay. Yeah, okay,
unfortunately, Your Honor, we actually just got notice about this yesterday around 1 p.m.
Okay. So we just need to get up to speed on things. So we'll reset to September 17th, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. And Ms. Campos, it's going to be on the same link that you just called in. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So hopefully we'll have service or mom will appear and we can move forward. Mr. Cabrera, if you get any contact information or hear anything, if you need anything else, just stay in touch with the department.
Will do. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank you all for your time and your service, and I'll sign that reset order for September 17th at 1:30. What is your excuse? Getting in 210, ending in 571. Can you please hit *6, unmute, and identify yourself? Oh, do we know? Last time we were here, we didn't have service on the mother, Miss Thompson. Do you know if there's a return of service in the file?
Let me check. Let me see.
I'm asking this person to unmute so I can figure out if that's her, because if it's not her and she wasn't served, then I don't know if we can proceed here.
And Your Honor, can we have a breakout room with you and the attorneys, please?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Just about to ask for the same thing.
No, Your Honor, the mother was not served.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, she was served. We talked with Lorraine. They just hadn't gotten the citation back from law enforcement to file it yet.
Well, if we don't have a return, then I can't really move forward without there being evidence of it. Let me talk to the attorneys in that breakout room. It's open. We'll be in a recess.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Miss Ibarra. The attorneys and the judge are in a breakout room real quick, so we're in a recess. If you just want to mute yourself and wait till they come back.
Okay.
All right. Anybody who's here for this case, if you come back in the courtroom, please. And Miss Ibada, I see that you're there on the phone. Can you hit *6 and unmute for me, please?
I have it unmuted.
Okay. I'm going to call this case. Is it possible for you to turn on your camera or no?
Yes.
Okay, I see you there. All right. Try to keep it still for me if you could. Thank
Okay.
you. Department of Family Protective Services versus Kristen Nevada in the 454 Judicial District Court of Medina County. Court is broadcasting from outside Medina County. Do the attorneys have any objection?
No, Your Honor, no objection.
Okay.
No, you're sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Ms. Thompson, would you please begin the announcements?
Jessica Thompson for the department.
Anybody else from the department that's here for this case, if you could announce, please, or belong? I think it's just the department, though, isn't it?
Just the department.
Alexandra Vanderbilt, supervisor for Miss Igulu.
Ms. Agulu, can you turn on your camera?
My camera is on. I don't know what is wrong with it.
Okay, well, then just state your name for me, please.
My name is Nora Egolu, the investigator.
Thank you.
Marco Cabrera, I represent Mother Christina Ibarra. She's present. We're ready. Miss Ibarra, can you state your name?
Hi, my name is Kristen Ibarra.
Deborah Fuller, attorney ad litem for the children, Your Honor, announcing not ready.
Javier Fernandez, the family-based worker receiving the case.
Emily Wattis covering supervisor.
Okay, this is a court-ordered services case. I spoke with the attorneys off the record in chambers prior to calling the case. Ms. Fuller has not been given an opportunity to meet with the children or observe the children in their environment or check on their safety, despite her efforts to do so. And then Mr. Cabrera has some concerns about his client's intentions and whether or not that would benefit us to continue on in the framework of a court-ordered services case. I don't know how much of that y'all want to put on the record, Mr. Cabrera, but I know Ms. Thompson, you heard it. So, Ms. Thompson, do you have any inclination as to how your client wants to proceed, or do you want to talk to him first?
I want to talk to them first before I proceed.
Okay. Mr. Cabrera, would you like another breakout room with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I would.
Okay, I'm going to move you to room 2. Ms. Fuller, you don't have to go in there, but I'm opening room 3 for you in case there's anybody else that wants to talk to you.
Okay.
And then Ms. Ibada, I'm assigning you to room 2 with Mr. Cabrera. You'll see a button pop up. Click on that and it'll send you in there, okay? And then who all would you like in the room with you, Ms. Thompson? I'll put Ms. Vanderbilt, Ms. Agulu, anybody else that's on this case that you want in the room with you?
As well as Mr. Hernandez.
All right, I'll put Ms. Juarez in there too.
And Miss Ibarra, we're waiting for the other lawyer to come back. So until she does, you can mute and like everybody else.
Okay.
All right. I think we have everybody back now. Sorry, I had to respond to an email regarding another case.
Can I get back on? Oh.
All right. After you had a chance to talk to your client, Ms. Thompson, how do you wish to proceed?
Your Honor, the department asked the court for a reset on this matter, given the circumstances regarding the mother's, Ms. Ibarra's decision to relinquish her parental rights, as well as Ms. Fuller concerns that she addressed earlier today during today's hearing. I just think that the department needs more time to assess the situation and to proceed accordingly.
If I could respond to that, Your Honor.
You may.
I just want to be clear. You know, I did state it when we were in the breakout. There are no life pleadings for us to be able to do relinquishment under. There's no case to terminate based on relinquishment. So unless somebody else has a different take on it, I don't think that's possible in this case.
And Your Honor, based on what we previously discussed, there needs to be an order for contact so I can observe the children. I'm very concerned about where they are at right now, since I've not have not been allowed contact, and the safety plan expired, was only good for 30 days. And so it was signed on July 30th. So I'm very concerned about that at this time.
All right. Well, considering the statute and brought this case in front of the court and what it allows me to do, I can and I will reset it for October 8th at 2 p.m. October 8th at 2 p.m. I can and will order that Miss Fuller have access to the home where the children are and to be able to see them and check on their welfare. So that's ordered. I'm going to order the parties to confer about a possible resolution. But all that being said, I agree with Mr. Cabrera. If mom's intent is to relinquish and the department's intent is to remain involved with these children, I can make an order for court-ordered services, but it's going to be moot as to the mother. She's not going to participate. So I think this is a good opportunity between now and the 8th for everybody to put their heads together and see if there's a better way. That being said, we still got live pleadings on file. There's a chance mom may change her mind. So I'm going to leave this open. And I think that it's the 17th of September. We're looking at the 8th of October to give Ms. Fuller plenty of time to attempt to make contact with the children, get a better understanding of the circumstances, give Mr. Cabrera time to talk to his client, make sure that what she's thinking about is what she wants to do. I know that it kind of falls outside of the scope of the appointment of this case, Mr. Cabrera, but I'm going to allow you to do that just because it may get us to point A, from point A to point C without having to worry too much about B. If you know what I mean.
And Your Honor, the individual that has the children said that unless the order is very specific, she's not allowing me contact. So
send me an order that says that I am ordering that you be able to enter the premises and check on the children, where they sleep, where they eat, the vehicle that they're transported in, and their schedules, and that they have sufficient food, shelter, water, and clothes, and that they look like they're being well cared for. And if only one of them is in school, I don't know if the other two are in daycare, the order can include authority for you to enter the premises of the school and or a daycare facility if that's where they are. Send me an order that says all that, please, Ms. Thompson, and I'll sign it. And then that gives you all plenty of time to decide if this is the best way to move forward.
okay.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
No,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. Well, thank you all for your time and your service. If nothing further, all parties are excused, and that concludes the docket for today. Medina County.
Thank you.
We're streaming outside of Medina County. Are there any objections?
No, Your Honor.
With that, Ms. Thompson, would you please begin the announcements?
Jessica Thompson for the department.
Ms. Hernandez.
Bernice Hernandez, Permanency Specialist.
Jerome Armidas, Permanency Supervisor.
Jennifer Harris, attorney ad litem for the youth. I'm ready.
Jill Roden, Tri-County CASA.
Ms. Perez, I see you there. Is that Serenity? I can't.
Yes.
It's hard for me.
Yes,
Hi.
it's Serenity and me.
Okay.
There
If I could get, there we go. Serenity, if you could announce for me, please. I'm glad to have you here. All right, Serenity and Ms. Hernandez, if you could both please raise your right hand. Okay, we're here today for permanency review after final order. And we've got Serenity here with us. And I've reviewed the department report and the CASA report. Got a few questions, but I think overall everything seems to be going well. We'll start with the department's report. Ms. Hernandez, permanency goal at this time for Serenity is still adoption, but she's expressed that she's not ready to be adopted at this time.
That is correct. She's actually decided that she would rather them have conservatorship over them adopting her.
Okay. Have you all talked about changing that goal?
Yes.
And is that going to happen, I guess, after this hearing or during this hearing?
Yes, sorry, my microphone was off.
Okay. And is the placement with the pet, is it safe and appropriate to meet your needs?
Yes, it is safe and appropriate for now, and it's meeting all her needs.
And you believe it's in Serenity's best interest to remain there with her sister?
It is, yes.
Okay. And this is the least restricted placement that's available to Serenity?
It is, yes.
Okay. Report states that she's up to date on all her checkups, correct?
Yes.
And she's recovered from her wisdom tooth surgery fully?
Yes.
And then she's up to date on the 2 medications that she's still taking?
Yes, she is.
And I understand that she stopped therapy for a little while after she left Meadowlands, but that she's resumed it again?
Yes, she had her first official session this month.
Okay. How are her behaviors right now?
Her behaviors are better. At the beginning of placement, she did have a few runaway incidents. They were quick. She would return or she would contact the caregiver after an hour or two of running away. Mostly, I think it was just a communication. She had a hard time communicating with Miss Bettis, but she has done so much better with communicating with her and myself. And in the month of August, she didn't have any incidents like that.
Okay. Did she ever get her driver's license?
No, not yet. We are waiting for her social security card. When it was ordered, they sent it to the wrong address, so it was reordered in August.
Okay. Then she's still waiting on that state ID too?
Yes, she's waiting for her state ID.
Anything that you need from the court today as far as that's concerned? Any orders that would help?
No, it's been ordered already. I've been checking up with it. It hopefully should be delivered by the end of this month, I'm hoping.
Okay. And I know she's talking about conservatorship. We had talked last time about ordering redaction and the head shake, but that might be a moot point at this point in time, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Do you know if that was ever received in case she changes her mind?
It was not done, no.
Okay. One of the issues that CASA brought up in their report was funding for the family with the case being transferred to PMC. Have you all discussed that?
Not fully, not in detail. I did see the report from CASA, and yes, I believe a group meeting would also be very beneficial.
Okay.
She did start receiving her kitchen funds starting August, and there was the back pay from May whenever she was first placed there.
Okay. And she's at Issy High School, and you feel like her educational needs are being met?
They're being met. She is having a lot of anxiety, transitioning from that small charter school that she was attending to a regular public school. So we do have some issues there. She did process it a bit with her therapist during her first session, but it is still an ongoing issue.
Okay. Anything else that you feel the court needs to hear today as far as Serenity is concerned that we need to address, or have we talked about it all?
No, I think we addressed what we needed to.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, do you have any questions for Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hernandez, you mentioned that her first therapy session is this month. How often is she scheduled to meet with her therapist? Is Serenity scheduled to meet with her therapist?
Yeah, so she had her intake in August, and her first session was September 5th, 2024. She is meeting with her twice a month. We did want to start off slow as Serenity didn't really want to return to therapy. We decided to take it slow, and if she needs more sessions, the therapist is always willing to have her every week whenever she needs a session.
Okay. And also, during your prior testimony, you mentioned about having a group meeting with the family. Do you have an idea when the initial meeting will be scheduled, like an exact date?
I don't have an exact date. I would have to talk to our navigators about that, but we can definitely get that scheduled out soon.
Okay, no further questions.
Ms. Harris?
In addition to Serenity's wishes, there's some concern about whether the home would be licensed eventually, correct?
Correct, yes. Miss Pettis had previously attempted to go through the foster care agency to adopt her other granddaughter, Natalie, and there was concerns with the home, and they were significant and very costly that they didn't think that they would be able to fix all the needs that the home had.
Have you been in the home?
I have, yes.
Do you have any concerns about the condition of the home and providing a safe, appropriate living space for Serenity?
We've been addressing them as we go. At first, she didn't have her own bedroom. She was sharing her bedroom with her sister, Natalie. We were able to get a shed in the back of the yard. We moved some of the other stuff from the second room. So now Serenity does have her own room, her own bed, her own furniture in her room. It's still an ongoing process of moving everything that's in that room, but she has a safe room for now.
But you don't have any concerns about the actual physical safety there in the home?
No, she has everything that she needs. It's safe. I go very regularly to the home just in case they ever need anything.
Has she also been enrolled in some equine therapy?
She has, yes. She was recently enrolled.
And she's had some trouble with anxiety at school, but she's doing generally overall okay, right?
Yes, generally, yes.
Has she been able to make some friends there?
She has, yes. She said, she told me that one of her previous peers from a foster home or placement was actually there. So she was actually able to see her there.
And is Belong going to support her in any of the extracurricular activities that she wants to engage in this year?
Yes, I told her that I would love for her to go into sports. She told me that she would like to do cross country or soccer. And I definitely support that. I want her to join as many sports, as many activities as she can. I think she needs that.
I have no other questions, Judge.
Thank you. Any other witnesses, Ms. Thompson?
Mr. Ramirez?
All right. Mr. Ramirez, I believe he took the oath earlier. Go ahead.
Please state your first and last name for the record.
Jerome Ramirez.
And Mr. Ramirez, how long have you been working on this case?
So I'm the supervisor, and we did receive the case. I'm not exactly sure on the date, but it's been a few months now.
Okay. Are there any concerns regarding Serenity's medical or progress?
No, to my understanding, there's no delayed needs at this time. I know Mr. Hernandez has been proactive in working with CASA and other support systems to make sure that all the needs are met.
No further questions from the department.
Ms. Harris, any questions?
No, Judge.
Okay. Serenity, is there anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there anything the cat wants to add?
She's falling asleep.
All right, Ms. Roden, I reviewed your report. Is there anything else that you want to add?
No, sir. I think overall, Serenity's doing very well. I've been in touch with her. I think that Mr. Hernandez did a great job kind of summarizing everything. There's some things that need to be done, but we've all been working as a team to get them done. And I think she's overall doing well. We just like to see that meeting happen just so we can discuss like realistically what the future looks like and how Serenity's needs will continue to be met if we transfer PMC.
Okay, very good. All right, then, for the purposes of the permanency review after final order, the court finds that permanency goal had been adoption, but after discussing things with Serenity and then also this licensing issue, I believe the goal is to change it to relative conservatorship, and I believe it's in the best interest of the child at this time. Court finds that the placement is safe and appropriate, meeting the needs of the child and in her best interest to continue. Serenity, you know, I think I've told you this before, don't be offended by the fact that we're saying child. I know you're 15 years old. It's just a legal term of art. Court finds it's the least restricted placement available. Serenity's up to date on her medical, dental, and vision, and her medication review is also up to date. Court finds that she is currently engaged in therapy. And I love to hear that you're signed up for equine therapy. That's wonderful. Court finds that overall behaviors are going well, and that she's in her sophomore year at public school. I understand it's a big transition, Serenity. So I can understand why you might have some anxiety about that. Court will find that her educational needs are being met. Court finds that we're still waiting the social security card so we can get that state ID. So let's just stay on top of that, please, Ms. Hernandez. It sounds like you're on top of it, but I just want to make sure she can get her ID. Court finds that Serenity has had the opportunity to express her wants and desires as to placement. And I'm going to order the parties to staff this case within the next 14 days. Let's talk about this funding issue that we were previously talking about. And then, as Ms. Roden mentioned, moving forward and just the things that we need to figure out as we move down the road with Serenity. Ms. Harris, I know you had questions and concerns, but did you have anything else that you wanted to add? I think I might have skipped that.
That's okay, Judge. I just want to say that Ms. Hernandez and Ms. Roden have gone above and beyond to make this placement work. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that on behalf of Serenity. And Serenity and I are celebrating a little bit because she got to come to court today and doesn't need to have a private meeting with you, doesn't have any concerns. Life is going the way that it's supposed to. And I think that is a huge accomplishment for her. So proud of her.
I do too. Yeah, I was actually kind of sad that you didn't want to talk to me before court. I'm just kidding. I'm very proud of you too. And I think that's wonderful. It shows a lot of progress. Okay, then our next hearing will be February 11th, 2025 at 11:30 in the morning. February 11th, 2025 at 11:30 in the morning. And I'm really glad to hear how things are going. Serenity, it's good to see you. Thank you, Ms. Pettis, for what you're doing as well. And I know you're going to have that staffing. If anything comes up, Ms. Harris or Serenity, anybody wants to schedule something, or if you need to get with me, please don't hesitate to contact Ms. Greenlee and we'll get something on the books. But it sounds like we're moving along very well. Anything I failed to address? No? Okay. Well, if nothing further, thank you all for your time and your service, and all parties are excused. Bye, Serenity.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Bye, everyone.
Amber Wagner, Belong Adoption Specialist for Morgan.
Laura Martinez, Adoption Supervisor.
Jill Roden, Tri-County CASA.
Thank you. We're here today for a permanency review, and got the CASA report, but I don't know that I got the department's report, but I think we can get through this, or excuse me, Belong's report. My understanding, Ms. Wetstein is now a placement for Morgan, Ms. Wagner?
No, yeah.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, why am I? Where is her placement then?
She's at Meadowlands, Roy-Moss, and Bernie.
Oh, Meadowlands, that's right. That's right. What did I read? Might have been, I did look at the old report and I realized that was the one from the hearing we had in July. I don't think I got your report for this month. It didn't make it to me, but I did read the Belong, or the CASA report. She's having contact with her grandfather, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think that's maybe what threw me off. All right, so she's at Meadowlands. Is that placement safe and appropriate, meeting her needs?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and is everything up to date? All of
Yes,
her
Your Honor.
dental and vision. Okay, she's still taking a couple of medications or clonidine at night. Is that what it is?
Correct. She is taking, that is all she is taking is the clonidines.
Okay, and how are her behaviors?
She's doing really well. Nothing outrageous, age-related behaviors, but nothing. She's doing so phenomenal.
Okay, and then it's helping her sleep though. It's actually working. Okay. She's at the charter school.
Yes, sir.
And I know school just started, but so far so good.
She says she's doing great. She's really enjoying it. She's able to do the modules and is doing some really quickly, but is asking for help when she needs it.
Okay. Still in therapy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And all the issues that we had that were still remaining back in July, we worked all that out?
I believe all of her property has been taken care of. I believe everything that we talked about has been taken care of. I can't think of anything that we missed.
Okay. I had ordered the med review. Sounds like that's been done. And then the DBT and the EDMR therapies that CASA had requested. Where are we with those things?
The EMDR therapy she's been enrolled in and has started. I don't have any notes because it just started, but she is doing that along with individual and group therapies.
Okay. Morgan had kind of jumped back and forth with being adopted. Back in July, she wanted to be adopted. Where does she stand now?
I can't remember if this has happened since, but Morgan, the crystal woman, she has decided that she no longer wants contact with her. Wasn't sure if that was part of the last conversation. Morgan does want to be adopted. I am actively recruiting for her right now.
Okay. What is the grandfather's last name?
Wetstein.
Okay, that's what threw me off. I knew that there was still a Wetstein involved, and I just got thrown off. Miss Wetstein was the old custodian. Okay.
Correct.
All right. That's what I didn't have your current report, but I knew I had seen that somewhere. So now it all makes perfect sense. Okay. I didn't have that distinction. Okay. Miss Thompson, do you have any questions for Miss Wagner?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Wagner, you previously stated that Morgan expressed that she would like to be adopted. Is it relative or fictive kin adoption that she desires?
We're currently looking for non-family adoption. We haven't been able to locate anybody that was biologically or fictive kin available to adopt her.
Okay. No further questions, Ms. Parker.
Ms. Fuller?
Ms. Wagner, has Morgan been allowed to participate in the selection of an adoptive home?
I don't believe that any of us have gone out there with any of the home studies as of yet. But I know that we talked about including her with that, but I have not done anything with that yet.
Okay. And when is the last time you received a home study? I haven't seen one in a while.
The last home study I got was when I sent it, I think back last week. I sent the 2 homes to you, the one I think in Scurry, Texas, and then I requested another one. Other than that, we have not received any other home studies. I did, however, reach out to 2 families that I located on the Adopt US Kids website. I reached out to their agencies to ask them specifically about if the families would be willing to maintain contact with her biological family. And so far, I did receive one email just before this saying that the family would be willing, but obviously they want to know more about Morgan. But I just got that right before this before this hearing.
And in regards to Morgan's, what Morgan wants in an adoptive family, she does not want to be out of state, correct?
Correct.
So we're no longer going to be looking at out of state potential families.
No, ma'am.
And is it her desire to find a home in pretty close proximity to her grandfather?
Yes, ma'am.
And so the homes that we've seen so far, we haven't had anyone that meets that criteria, correct?
No, the one home I believe is up in Richmond, Texas. The homes I was looking at here. Oh no, the one was in Scurry, Texas, which is up near Dallas. One was in Richmond, but there is one down in Mathis, which is down near Corpus. So that's a little bit closer.
And Morgan's pretty outspoken, so she really can tell us what she wants, correct?
100%. And I did submit placement so that we can begin looking internally for placements. She'll be sent out with our placement requests, trying to look for a permanent home for her foster home setting.
And recently, there's been some relatives on the paternal side that have wanted contact. How has that gone? Have they had contact with her yet?
They have. Sister Ashley contacted me, and we've talked. We ran her background. She's picked her up. They're rebuilding their relationship. I'm hoping for good things out of this. I'm hoping that this kind of turns a corner for maybe placement options.
And at one point, we discussed her going to the main campus in Bernie, the regular high school, but she prefers the charter school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and she's doing well there.
Yes, ma'am. When I talked to her, she's super proud about how far she's getting in class and how that she likes the small classes. So she's easier to ask for help, because I know that was something she struggled with, asking for help. So this is a smaller class. So she's getting the attention and she's doing really well.
And she gets along fairly well with the other young ladies in the cabin.
As much as a bunch of 15-year-old girls can get along with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when's her next visit with her grandfather?
This weekend.
This weekend? Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses, Ms. Thompson?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody else you want to call Ms. Fuller?
No, Your Honor.
What are your thoughts?
She's doing really well. We went and ate breakfast a few weeks ago, and she's enjoying where she's at. She enjoys the school. She likes the smaller setting. She feels that that was a better choice for her. But she's really, adamant about what she wants in an adoptive home, and it needs to be close by because she wants to keep connections with her family. I'm glad that she was taken off the other medicine because she was on a med for cravings, which she doesn't have that. And I think taking her off everything and just keeping her on the clonidine is good for her. She seems really happy. She loves to read, and she wants to be able to see her relatives and spend time with them. And I think that's all working out well for her.
Good. Glad to hear it. Before I hear from Ms. Roden, what was the date she was placed at Meadowlands?
July 30th.
And then what would be her level of care at this time?
Moderate.
Moderate. All right, Ms. Roden, what are your thoughts?
Generally just in line with what everybody else has shared. She's doing really well in her current placement. She is very outspoken and tells us, what she wants and needs. And I think we've gotten to a good spot. She's still able to have contact with her family. I know that Ms. Wagner is making efforts to locate a permanent family, and I'm glad to hear today that Belong is going to continue to seek placement in a foster adopt home. So I'm glad that they're making those efforts internally as well. Other than that, I think we're in a good spot. We just need to make sure the case keeps moving forward and that we find permanency for her.
Okay, thank you. For the purposes of the permanency review after final order, the court finds the permanency goal is non-relative adoption. It's in Morgan's best interest. Court finds that her placement in Meadowlands is safe and appropriate, meeting her needs in her best interest to continue. Court finds that her medical, dental, and vision checkups are all up to date. Her psychotropic review is up to date. Behaviors are good. Court finds that this is the least restrictive placement possible at this time. Court finds she's attending the Meadowlands Charter School. Her educational needs are being met. Court finds she is receiving the therapy necessary and that was ordered. Court finds that her adoption info is up to date, and that they're working towards, Belong is working towards making sure that she's got an updated profile. Court finds that Morgan has expressed her wants and desires that she does not want to be placed, adopted placement out of state. Her desires to be close to Mr. Wetstein. I'm going to continue. I find that the contact with the relatives at this point in time is in her best interest and allow that to continue. Find that Belong has made reasonable efforts toward achieving the permanency goal by working with Morgan and helping her to get to a point where we can make an adoption happen. There's been a lot. I'm saying working with Morgan because there's been a lot since our hearing in May. We've had a progress hearing since then. Quite a lot has gone on. We've had a lot of discussions about this case. So I feel like we're making some progress. Our next hearing is going to be February 11th, 2025 at 10 a.m. February 11th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Anything I failed to address?
No.
Okay. Thank you all for your time and your service. If nothing further, all parties are excused in Medina County.
Thank you.
Court is streaming outside of Medina County. Are there any objections? Having heard none, Ms. Thompson, will you please begin the announcements?
Jessica Thompson, the department.
Kim Coffey, adoption case worker.
Laura Martinez, adoption supervisor.
Jennifer Harris, attorney ad litem.
Ms. Coffey, would you please raise your right hand? We are here today for permanency review after final order. Permanency goal still relative adoption.
Yes, Judge.
And placement is still safe and appropriate, meeting Andreas's needs.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And since that time, no other family members have come forward.
No, not to my knowledge.
And he's still bonded to Ms. Martinez and everything's going well there.
Yes, ma'am. He's doing great in the home.
Okay. And up to date on his checkups?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Is he still taking the allergy and heartbeat meds?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And all that's going well?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. How are we on the citizenship issue?
That that is not an issue. They're just working on their licensing. They've already adopted the siblings. So they're just going to be adopt only. I believe they just have one module to complete of trainings. So I anticipate, maybe another month before they are licensed and we can proceed. I've already provided the redacted case file to the family and they have waived the HESIG. So right now we're just waiting on finishing up on the licensing and we should be good to go.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, any questions for Ms. Coffey?
I guess. Ms. Coffey, when was Andreas' last visitation to his cardiologist?
I think he just had one recently. His next one I know is in November. They're every 6 months.
Okay, got it. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Harris?
Sorry, I didn't mean to turn my video off. What is there a reason that the licensing has not been finished yet?
I'm not sure. I know the family, they've been working on the modules. They're pretty busy, but they're doing a lot better than when I first got the case. So they've really proceeded with getting all their trainings done. There was a little bit of a holdup with they had a risk evaluation, and that takes a little bit of time too. So I think that was probably the main holdup.
But do you have any concerns about the safety of the placement?
Oh, none at all, no.
And you think this is in his best interest for the adoption to proceed as soon as possible?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
No further questions, Judge.
Anything else from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Harris, what are your thoughts?
It's a great place. They've already adopted siblings. They're taking great care of him. I'm just ready for the adoption to be done. I think they're ready for it to be done too and as out of their lives.
Okay. That's fair. All right, then court finds that for the purposes of the permanency review after final order, the permanency goal remains relative adoption. Placement with Ms. Martinez is appropriate, safe, meeting the needs of the child and in his best interest to continue. Court finds this is the least restrictive placement available. No other family members have come forward, and that he's bonded to the family. Court finds he's up to date on his medical, dental, and vision, and he's still receiving the education or the medication for his allergies and his heartbeat. Court finds that the only barrier to achieving the permanency goal at this time is the licensing module that's left over. Court finds that Belong has made reasonable efforts towards achieving the permanency goal in providing to the family the redacted case file, getting a Hessian waiver, and then working with the licensing issue. Next hearing is going to be February 11th, 2025 at 10:30. February 11th, 2025 at 10:30. If we get all this done, I would love to get this adoption consummated way ahead of time. So see how we do on that. And if anybody needs to get anything else from the court in order to do that, please just let us know. Is there anything I failed to address? Okay. Thank you all for your time and your service. And Ms. Martinez, thank you for everything that you're doing for the child. And if nothing further, all parties are excused.
Thank you, Judge.
This report of Medina County. Court is streaming outside Medina County. Any objections?
No objection.
Ms. Thompson, would you please begin the announcements?
Jessica Thompson for the department.
Dannery Nevarez, Andreas adoptions caseworker.
Kathleen Savage, attorney ad litem for the child, Your Honor. I'm ready.
Jill Roden, Tri-County Casa.
Anyone not giving or giving testimony and is not an attorney, please raise your right hand. I think it's just Ms. Nevada's. My understanding is that the only thing that we really still have an issue with is the birth certificate, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so permanency goal is still unrelated adoption. The foster home in Bexar County, safe and appropriate, meeting all of the child's needs, correct?
Yes,
In the best interest of the child for the permanency goal to continue and for this placement to continue.
most definitely, yes.
All right, and child's bonded to the caregivers and no other family members have come forward?
No.
Okay. The Hessian redaction received?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you know about this birth certificate issue at this time? Have we made any progress at all since April?
So yes and no, Your Honor. Vital Statistics sent a request to the hospital for medical records. I sent multiple requests. I actually finally got the records last week, but because they were not sent directly to Vital Statistics, now they are waiting to hear back from the developmental pediatrician to get verification. And that's all we have. I mean, I've provided all the records they requested, but they have to verify with a medical professional themselves, is my understanding.
Okay. Do you need any other orders from the court today?
Not any that I can think of, to be honest.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, do you have any questions for Ms. Nevarez?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Nevarez, are you still waiting for the Social Security card for Alres?
Yes, we're unable to process that because she does not have a Social Security number because she does not have a birth certificate.
Okay. And what about the performance of her therapy for speech delay? What is the status on that?
She's doing great. They don't necessarily see it as she is delayed. She is doing what is appropriate for her age. She's extremely smart. She's just at this point, they think it's more of her refusing to talk because she's a little spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. But she's doing great. She has speech therapy every week. They participate with her. She gets ready for the sessions. She sits through the sessions. She participates in the sessions. I've done visits while she's had sessions, and she's doing great.
And is she still using a prescription for her eczema?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Savage?
No questions, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses from anyone?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Savage, what are your thoughts?
Vital statistics. So much fun. Actually, me and Miss Navarez have planned for Friday to hopefully shoot to request a order for a delayed birth certificate. And so she's going to meet me at Bandera County while we're all there in person, hopefully get that executed so we can expedite this. So we can finally get this little girl adopted. This is her forever home. This is the only home she's known. It's just a matter of trying to get this birth certificate done, and meeting all those roadblocks that vital statistics always puts in the way. So hopefully this time around we can get it done, and ideally by Christmas, maybe have an adoption. That would be amazing. But that's the plan for Friday, to get that out and going. And so hopefully that will really expedite things.
Okay. Thank you. All right, then, for the purpose of the permanency review after final order, the court finds that the permanency goals unrelated to adoption, placement is safe and appropriate, meeting the child's needs, and in the best interest of the child to continue, and the permanency goals in the child's best interest. Court finds that all the checkups are up to date. She's not receiving any type of medication at this time, and she's bonded to the placement. No other family members have come forward. This is the least restricted placement available. Court finds that the barrier to adoption at this time is the lack of a birth certificate, and court finds that reasonable efforts have been made, including getting the hashtag and the redaction received for the adopted family, and then working through these birth certificate issues that we're seeing. Our next hearing is going to be February 11th, 2025 at 11 a.m. February 11th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Anything I failed to address? Okay, well, Friday, y'all let me know if you need me to sign anything while we're there. If you need anything else from me, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All parties are excused. Thank you for your time and your services for District Court of Medina County, Texas. The court is broadcasting outside of Medina County. Are there any objections?
No objection, Judge.
All right, Ms. Thompson, would you please begin the announcements?
Jessica Thompson for the department.
Is it?
Matthew Schaefer, family-based caseworker.
Jennifer Harris, attorney ad litem for the child Ezekiel.
Rochelle Acevedo for the father, Mr. Mascarenas. Will you please announce?
Hi there.
Can you state your name, please, sir?
Michael Mascarenas.
Thank you.
Alana Pearsall, attorney for the mother. Ms. Ballou, will you please introduce yourself?
Victoria Ballou. Hi.
Anyone who's not an attorney or will be giving testimony, please raise your hand. We're here today for a compliance hearing. Mr. Schaefer, I don't know if you, Miss Greenlee and I did not get a report on this one. I'm not sure what happened there, but just want to see if maybe y'all will check and see if it's fallen through the cracks.
Yes, we, Your Honor, we have e-filed one that was at the 10-day mark, and then I actually amended one and refiled it, I believe, at the 6th-day mark. So there were two that we did receive back that were e-filed stamped copies.
Okay, I don't think it made it to Miss Greenlee. So we just need to check and see whoever's sending those out to include her email address on it, because we looked and we didn't see it. Probably just left the email address off, or maybe it just, I don't know. But that being the case, where do we stand as far as our compliance with both parents today at this point?
Both parents are doing quite very well. They're both in compliance with their family plan of services. Ms. Ballou is attending individual counseling with Ariana Hernandez in Divine. Reports from the therapist state that Ms. Ballou is doing quite well, engaging. They're working on coping skills, addressing the reason for involvement, and also some healthy relationship communication as well. In regards to her mental health needs, she does have a psychiatrist appointment on September 27th with the psychiatrist here in Hondo at MHDD. She is currently on some medication right now through her primary care physician. So I know when she has her assessment with the evaluation with the psychiatrist, they'll talk more amongst that. Ms. Blue knows to sign a release in order for me to obtain the outcome from the evaluation as the case progresses. So that's scheduled in regards to that. She did complete a drug and alcohol assessment on July 31st, and there was no recommendations for her ongoing. Both parents continue to drug test negative randomly. They did in July and twice in August. And actually, I just sent them today, and they went to submit a urine screen before court. So results are pending at this time for September. Both parents are continuously engaging in the PAT program with Miss Lisette Reyes. Feedback from Miss Reyes pretty much states, that parents are very much engaged. They're demonstrating the changes, productivity, and just overall, just like engagement and learning and applying the things that they're learning in the PAT program to their ways of parenting. So had no negative feedback in regards to what they've been doing through that program. In addition, I wanted to just kind of commend the parents that they took it upon themselves to seek counseling for couples to help strengthen their family dynamics and foundation between each other. That's currently set up, and I do know they have a session this Thursday with Dr. Christina Gracia, who is doing their couples counseling for the family. In regards to the child Zeke, he's doing fine. I've had no concerns reported to me from Miss Reyes that sees him through the PAT program as well. I've spoken to family and also my interaction observation as well. Child appears to be doing great and fine, no concerns. He had an ECI evaluation that was done on August 6th with no recommendations either recommended for him at this time. So this is where we stand, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you feel as if you need continued court intervention at this time to move forward, or do you feel it would be more appropriate for parents to work directly with you through FBSS without court intervention?
Yeah, I feel at this time the parents would be appropriate to work fine with me. I don't know how it entails in regards to the PAT program, if the parents do need to be completed completely before we dismiss the motion to participate with the TFF. I do know they only have 2, if not 1 class left in the PAT program to be completed. But yes, at this time, I don't really see or justify any reason for the courts to actually be involved, as parents have proven themselves very efficient and effectively in regards to working services and addressing these concerns to mitigate the risk.
Okay. Miss Hartwick Smith, I know you got your camera off. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, did you take the oath?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you, I could answer this question. Do we need to keep the case open for the parents to complete all the TFF services?
If it's early on in the case and they've only completed like half of the PAT curriculum, I would say yes. But since they only have 1 or 2 more, I think we could close it just stating that they will complete it before we exit them. And I think that would be completely fine.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, do you have any questions for Mr. Schaefer?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Schaefer, did Ms. Blue and Mr. Seniors, did they complete the anger management classes?
To my knowledge, I don't believe so. If that was ordered on the initial order of the court, I did know I had some questions in regard to that, as I inherited the case from a previous worker. I do know that FGCs were held, and to my knowledge that it was only distinctly discussed to have her in individual counseling and addressing stuff internally in that matter. But it's not to my knowledge that that was being asked to complete.
No further questions.
Ms. Pearsall?
Anger management was never on the parent service plan, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. They finished every service that was on their service plan, plus reached out and did some more on their own.
Yes, ma'am.
No other questions.
Ms. Acevedo?
No questions, Judge.
And Ms. Harris?
No questions, Your Honor.
Anybody else have any other witnesses they want to call?
Your Honor, I'd like to call Ms. Ballou.
All right. She's missed one.
Tell us your name again after you unmute.
I'm Victoria Blue.
Ms. Ballou, can you tell the judge what, if anything, you've gained from this case?
I feel like I gained a lot of understanding more with how Zeke is developing through the PAT program. I feel like we have a lot more activities that we get to do, and just working with him and understanding like more in depth of like cutting scissors is working his fine motor skills, like things like that didn't make sense before this program. I also feel like I'm doing really good in therapy with my communication. I feel like before I didn't really, like, I still don't really understand how to talk to people properly, like when I get a little involved with myself, but now I'm able to like step back and really think about what I'm saying before I say it.
Are you willing to continue working with Mr. Schaefer regardless of whether you have a legal case or not?
Yes.
Okay. And do you feel that this process actually benefited you?
Yes.
No other questions, Your Honor.
Anybody else have any other questions for Ms. Ballou?
No, Judge.
Any other witnesses, Ms. Pearsall?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything you want to add, Ms. Harris?
I am in full support of closing the case. I think that these parents are working hard. They clearly love their son. I think unfortunately this was just what led to this case was a hiccup. I know we were all a little shocked at first, but I truly believe it was just a little hiccup. They love their son, they can take care of him. I don't think they need this court to be involved. I don't even know that they need FBSS to keep them doing this stuff other than maybe, you know, paying for the therapy to continue for them. But otherwise, they're great. I've got no concerns.
Thank you. Well, I think that this, I know several people have heard me say this before. The purpose of these cases is to get parents help, get the family help without having to do a full removal. And the intention, as I understand it, in the legislation that created these cases was so that we'd have a low impact, positive way to work together with families, with the children in the home, address these concerns, and then move on and not have to get into more in-depth and more unpleasant situations. And I'm pretty sure I tell everybody at the beginning of these cases that same thing. And if you do the work, you get in it, and we can get it done, and we can get out, we can all move on down the road. And that's exactly what the two of you have done. And I'm really proud of both of you and the work that you've done. Ms. Ballou, what you said and the way you said it was very genuine and authentic, and tells me that you really done some self-reflection. And you know, I didn't hear from Mr. Mascarenas, but if you're there in the home and everybody who's here is saying that you guys have worked hard, then I imagine you'd probably tell me a lot of the same things. So I want to give you both a round of applause, say good job, way to go. And in the nicest way possible, say I hope I don't ever see you in the courtroom again. And good luck to you both. I'm proud of you. And this is what we love to see. This is why we do what we do. So good luck, and the court will grant the department's request to dismiss the case and dismiss the attorneys and their appointments. So there'll be no further hearings, and that's it. So thank you all for your time and your service. Good luck to you, parents, and I'm going to close this hearing, and I will see some of you after lunch. All parties are excused.
Thank you.
Good job, you guys.
Good luck, guys.
Objections.
Thank
No,
you.
Your Honor.
No objection.
Ms. Thompson, would you please begin the announcements?
Jessica Thompson for the department.
Christy Knott, Permanency Supervisor with Belong. Miss Elegant is going to be on. She had to log off and log back on. She was having technical difficulty.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah Fuller, attorney and guardian ad litem for the child. Your Honor, ready?
Jill Roden, Tri-County Casa.
Alana Pearsall, attorney for placement.
All right, we have Raina, who is currently placed with Ms. Peralta in Atascosa County, been there for quite some time. To your knowledge, Ms. Knopp, is that placement still safe and appropriate, meeting her needs?
Yes, it is.
And the permanency goal is relative adoption by Ms. Peralta.
That is correct.
All right. Ms. Elegant, if you would state your name.
Adrian Elegant, Permanency Specialist for the case.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Knopp just confirmed the permanency goal and placement Is the placement safe and appropriate, meeting the child's needs, Ms. Elligan?
Yes, sir.
Is it in her best interest to remain there?
Yes, sir, it is.
Right. And your report shows that she's up to date on everything and she has no medical, dental, or vision concerns?
No, sir.
Okay. And she's not receiving any medication at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. Any barriers that we know of to the adoption?
We're just pinning the relative interest letters to be sent out, and pinning assignment of an adoption worker once they get sent out. And also, Ms. Janelle has 4 trainings that have expired that she needs to complete. And that's it.
Okay. Any other reasonable efforts that Belong has made that you want to inform the court of besides what we've already talked about?
That's it.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, questions for Ms. Elligan?
No questions from the department, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Pearsall?
Maybe you said this and I missed it, but when do you expect the adoption worker to be assigned?
It's just pending.
So do we have a time?
I don't know when the time frame will be, but everything has been completed on our end.
Okay. Other questions?
Fuller?
I guess that's my concern, Ms. Elligan. So in regards to the, you said you had to send out relative interest letters. Has that been done?
That's been done.
Okay. And so what is the process? I mean, the termination was several months ago. What's the process to get it over to adoption at this point? What's the holdup?
Again, we're just pending it being picked up because everything's been done on our end. So those letters have been sent out. So that's the thing we're waiting on. It to be assigned.
Okay, so you're saying that it's waiting for the adoption unit to take it over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you don't have any concerns about Raina's placement at this time?
No, ma'am. No concerns.
Okay, thank you. Pass the witness.
Any other witnesses from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody else have a witness they want to call?
No, Your Honor.
What are your thoughts on things, Ms. Fuller?
I mean, I was hoping it would have already been transferred to the adoption unit. It's been a while. I guess I'm not understanding what's taking so long. I guess if maybe we need someone from adoptions to be present to tell us why it isn't in their unit yet. Because that termination trial, Ms. Pearsall asked for, for you to waive the 90 days, and you did. And we're still not, it's not even with adoptions yet. So that's what I'm concerned about. I mean, I'm not saying it's Miss Elligan's fault. I mean, I want to figure out what's going on to why it hasn't been sent to adoptions, because I was anticipating it, to be already good to go. But I mean, the placement is great. I mean, she's been there most of her life, actually. Prior to the CPS removal, she was there in a court-ordered services case. So she's been there most of her life. She does really well in Miss Peralta's home, but I'm just wondering how this process is why it's being delayed.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, I would just ask that you order her to be transferred to an adoption worker within 7 days or something.
I've got a note. Miss Roden, anything else from CASA?
No, sir. My volunteer's not with us today, but she's been in touch with Ms. Peralta and with Raina. We are in support of that placement and the adoption moving forward as quickly as we can get it done. So we don't have any concerns at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And Your Honor, maybe Ms. Knopp can tell us what the process is and why adoption hasn't picked it up yet. I guess I don't.
Yeah, Ms. Knopp, maybe you can, because I am a little curious. I understand that there's not much else conservatorship or permanency can do at this point in time, but how does the case with Belong, how do adoption cases get transferred from permanency into adoptions?
After we receive the termination orders and the relative interest letters are sent out, and after we do our transfer paperwork, which all has been done, we send it over to our program director, who then works with the program director for adoptions on getting it assigned. I do know that they have had a large turnover in adoption workers, and they are training a lot of new adoption workers. And so I don't know if that in particular is the holdup, but it is on their list to be transferred over to an adoption worker, and I will remind Ms. Kirkpatrick about it as well. And I know that we are also waiting for Ms. Peralta to get licensed. So as soon as she gets licensed, then they can actually start the paperwork for that.
Okay. All right. Then
just to make it clear, she is licensed. She just had, she had some things expire, but she has been licensed.
Thank you.
okay. And for the purposes of the permanency review after final order, the court finds that the permanency goal of relative adoption is in the best interest of the child. Court finds that her placement is safe, appropriate, meeting her needs, and in her best interest to continue. Court finds that Raina is up to date on her medical, dental, and vision checkups. She's not receiving any medications, and that there are no concerns at this time. Court finds that the only barrier to the adoption at this time is the fact that it has not been assigned to adoptions yet. I'm going to order Belong to contact the adoptions unit and to have the case transferred within 10 days or update the court as to why it can't be transferred. So for instance, if you all contact them and they tell you you can't do it for this reason or that reason, then just let me know. I just want to make sure that we have a dialogue going back and forth so that we can keep a running timeline on this. Let all the other parties know as well. I'm going to find that Belong has made reasonable efforts towards the permanency goal in that the relative interest letters were sent out, and the permanency specialist has done everything possible on her end to get the case to adoptions. I think we just need to make some noise and make sure they know that we're waiting on this case. Make sure they know that I waived the 90-day waiting period back on May the 21st. We're already out of that, and we're still waiting on them to pick it up. So we are a little bit behind the 8 ball on this. The next hearing is going to be February 11th, 2025 at 1:30. February 11th, 2025 at 1:30, but I really hope that we've done an adoption by then. The other barrier to the adoption was the trainings that Ms. Peralta needs to redo in order to maintain her license. Anything I failed to address?
No, Your Honor, I was just wondering if they've started the HESIG and the redacted case file as well.
That would be good. Ms. Elligan, do you know if the redaction and the HESIG have been requested?
Yes, it has.
Okay, then I'll add that. Ms. Thompson, add that to the list of reasonable efforts, please. Okay, thank you all very much for your time and your service. If nothing further, all parties are excused.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you, Your Honor.
Medina County, Texas. The court is streaming outside of Medina County. Are there any objections?
No, Your Honor.
No objection.
All right. With that, then, Mr. McKeska, would you please begin the announcements?
Yes, Judge Drake McKeska, attorney for the department. Ms. Powell?
Eleanor Powell, permanency specialist with Belong.
Richard Sullivan, attorney for Michael Rodriguez, also covering for Kathleen Savage for Joshua Pinner, and I'm going to announce not ready on Mr. Pinner, Judge. No contact.
Christy Knott, permanency supervisor with Belong.
For the respondent mother, I previously announced not ready and it was overruled, and that was recessed. I am again announcing not ready.
Raina Costa for the child. I'm ready.
Jill Roden, Tri-County Casa.
Anyone who's not an attorney or will be giving testimony, please raise your right hand. I'm sorry, go ahead. I forgot we've got Mr. Iglesias as well here. You can announce, ma'am. Oh, you were unmuted. No, you need to unmute. You had it right the first time. You're still muted. There you go.
Victoria Iglesias Romo, Tri-County Casa.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, ladies. We were here for final trial August 27th. We commenced. We recessed to resume today at 2:30. In that time, Mr. Pinner has been served. His answer was due yesterday. Mr. Pinner is entitled to 45 days notice of trial. Mr. Pinner has not received 45 days notice of trial. Ms. Savage has had no contact with Mr. Pinner. And Mr. Saldivar in her stead cannot waive 45 days notice of trial and is not waiving it. So I have to grant that not ready. And then Ms. Harris has again announced not ready and re-urged that. Because I have to grant the not ready as to Mr. Pinner, who has not had 45 days notice of trial, and in order to keep this clean as far as the procedure is concerned, I have to grant Ms. Harris is not ready as well and continue the trial. Because we are continuing the trial due to this issue and we were up against the dismissal date, we cannot rely on the statute that allows us to toll the dismissal period based on commencing trial prior to the dismissal date. So we then need a 401 motion for extraordinary circumstances in this case. And my understanding is the department is going to urge that. Is that correct, Mr. McKeska?
That's correct, Judge. However, I would just like to say with regard to Ms. Gomez, she has been served. In this case, she was personally served back on September 20th of 2023. And Ms. Gomez, and through her attorney, Ms. Harris, has had notice or did have notice prior to the 45 days prior to our initial setting. And so I would ask the court to allow me to conclude the presentation of evidence regarding Ms. Gomez, Mr. Rodriguez, and the unknown father, because they were all properly served prior to the commencement on the 27th. And I would ask the court to enter an interlocutory order as to those parties. And then do the continuation, or sorry, the extension under 401 or 263-401 with regard to Mr. Pinner. That way we can provide the adequate notice to him of 45 days notice for the final trial.
Any response to Mr. McKeska's argument request?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, that's granted then. So, Mr. McKeska, why don't you put on through Ms. Powell just some brief best interests evidence as far as the motion is concerned, and you are urging an oral motion for 263-401.
Yes, Judge, just to make that clear, I am asking the court to enter an extension under 263-401 for extraordinary circumstances with regard to Mr. Pinner, since he was personally served on the 16th of August. And the answer period told as of yesterday, September 9th, 2024. However, in order to give him 45 days notice of that final trial, we would need to extend this case in order to get beyond that or not have a dismissal date issue and provide him adequate notice and protect his rights.
And I do believe Mr. McKeska's argument as far as the procedure as to the other parents is correct. I do believe they've had adequate notice and that the court does have the authority to enter an interlocutory order in this case. I'm going to overrule Ms. Harris is not ready at this time. We will proceed as to the mother and the unknown father and Mr. Rodriguez. You want to put some evidence on as to best interest through Ms. Powell, Mr. McKeska, then we can proceed with that part.
Yes, Judge. Ms. Powell, can you please state your name for the record?
Ona Powell.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm a permanency specialist with Blom.
Okay. And Judge, I would like to actually, before I continue with her testimony, be able to introduce what's been marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 8. It was not included in the original exhibits that were provided, but it is a file stamped copy of the certificate of paternity registry for the child, indicating that there's not been anyone or no one has registered with the paternity registry search claiming paternity.
No objection.
No objection.
Petitioner's 8 submitted.
Thank you, Judge. And Judge, just again, for clarity's sake, for the record, I did have an exhibit that was pre-marked as Petitioner's Exhibit number 7. That is a copy of the return of citation for Mr. Pinner. However, since we are not moving forward with him today, I'm not asking to introduce that. So there will be a gap in the exhibits that have been admitted into evidence.
All right, let's review that real quick, just so I can tell you what I have in my notes. Petitioners 1 is a temporary order.
Yes, sir.
2 is the mother's family plan of service. 3 was the status hearing order. 4 was the initial permanency hearing order. 5 was the permanency review before final order. 6 was the order adjudicating non-parentage for Donald Sigler. And then I had a waiver of interest for Mr. Rodriguez as 7. Was that the respondents 1?
Judge, you're right. It would be affidavit or the waiver of interest was 7. So I messed up on my numbering for this new set.
Okay. So we'll just keep that waiver of interest as petitioner 7 then.
Yes, sir.
Your 8 is the paternity registry search. And then you can bring back that other exhibit when we come back from Mr. Penner.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Everybody's clear on that, on the numbering? Okay.
Yes, Judge.
All right, then. Go ahead and continue. And I've enabled screen share. I think you already shared it though.
Yes, Judge, I had it up. Ms. Powell, where's the child currently placed?
She is placed with her maternal aunt and uncle, Jalissa Gomez.
And what is the permanency goal for the child at this time?
It is relative adoption.
Okay. And how long has the child been placed with her aunt and uncle?
Since she was released from the hospital, since hospital discharge.
Okay, approximately
a year.
When was that? Okay.
Almost a year.
Okay. And are they licensed to be able to adopt her at this time?
Unfortunately, they haven't completed everything that's needed. They're in search of a new agency due to some background issue. So we're still working on getting them licensed to adopt.
Okay, but the department is actively pursuing relative adoption as the permanency goal for the child.
Yes.
Okay. And in order for that permanency goal to be achieved, the child needs to be eligible for adoption, correct?
Correct.
In order for her to be eligible for adoption, all parental rights and potential parents, their rights to her have to be terminated for her to be eligible. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so with regard to Mr. Penner, he and Miss Gomez are married. Is that correct?
Correct.
And they were married at the time the child was born?
Yes, correct.
Did you ever discuss with Miss Gomez if Mr. Penner could be the father, the biological father of the child?
Yes, and she said he could not.
Okay. But just because they are married and because he is the presumed father under the law, we have to address his parental rights to the child, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so do you believe that doing an extension, the court retaining the case on the court's docket in order to be able to achieve that permanency goal being the child's best interest?
Yes.
Okay. And are you asking the court to do that today?
Yes, I am.
And are you also asking the court to not unnecessarily delay the trial, but to set the trial with regard to Mr. Penner as soon as possible?
Yes.
Okay. Pass the witness, Judge.
Let's start with Ms. Harris.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Saldivar.
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Acosta.
No questions, Judge.
All right. Back to you, Mr. McKesson.
Judge, the department rests.
Okay. Anybody else have any witnesses to call? No?
No, Your Honor.
Let me hear from, well, let's just put exactly what you're requesting today on the record, Mr. McKeska. That way it's clear, and then I'll allow anybody to respond if they want.
Yes, sir. So, Judge, based on the evidence that has been presented today and the evidence that was presented on August 27th when we commenced the trial, The department is asking for the court to terminate the parent-child relationship between Ms. Gomez and the child under Texas Family Code Section 161.001B10 and N of the Family Code. I should reverse those, N and O. Under subsection N, that the mother has constructively abandoned the child, and under subsection O, that she failed to complete the follow court order necessary for the return of the child. We're also asking the court to make a finding that the termination of the parent-child relationship between the mother and the child's in the child's best interest, and that the department made reasonable efforts to return the child to their home, but despite those reasonable efforts, there remains a continuing danger in the mother's home. With regard to Mr. Rodriguez, we are asking the court to terminate any potential parent-child relationship between him and the child based on the fact that he executed the waiver of interest, and the court make a finding that that is in the child's best interest. With regard to the unknown father, we're asking the court to terminate any potential relationship between the child and an unknown father under section 161.002B3 of the Family Code, and the court make a finding that the child was under 1 year of age at the time the petition for termination was filed, and that the unknown father has not registered with the paternity registry under chapter 160 of the Texas Family Code. And then finally, with regard to Mr. Pinner, with regard to each of those parents, we're asking the court to enter an interlocutory order with those specific requests. With regard to Mr. Pinner, we are asking the court to retain this case on its docket and retain jurisdiction under chapter 263-401 of the Texas Family Code. That there are extraordinary circumstances that necessitate retaining the case on the court's docket, and that retaining the case on the court's docket beyond the initial dismissal period is in the child's best interest, so we can adequately address all of the procedural issues with regard to Mr. Pinner, namely giving him and his attorney the necessary 45 days notice of a final trial after his answer was due in this case.
Thank you. Any response? Any argument to the contrary?
Sure.
No, Your Honor, I'm aligned with the department.
All right. I have one question. Ms. Greenlee is trying to give me dates on this extension for I to grant it. And I guess my question would be, I'm going to make an order today as to the trial date that would give Mr. Pinner and Ms. Savage 45 days notice of trial. What was the date of our last permanency hearing? Because my understanding is that we have to be within 120 days of that, correct?
Yes, Judge, that would be correct. So let me just pull that up.
So we need to go from the last permanency hearing to 45 days from today.
Was it
see
May
if that exceeds 120.
Was it May 14th?
The only hearing I could see without getting out of the screen is the August. So
yes, May 14th was the last perm hearing.
So we definitely would have exceeded that. I think I heard enough evidence today to consider today a permanency hearing as well. Is there any objection to that?
No objection.
No objection here.
And that would take care of that issue. And then we can set the next hearing as the final trial. And just for some cushion, I'd probably set it out a little over 45 days. So what's the 45 days from today, Ms. Greenlee, what would be the next available Medina setting after that?
And we're going to need roughly an hour.
Sure.
Okay.
It wouldn't hurt to set it for an hour just in case we needed it.
Because we can set it on
November 12th at 3 o'clock, and that would give us an hour. We could set it on the 19th, and that would be the only thing set that day. So those are your options.
Tell me one more time, the two dates.
One was November 12th at 3 o'clock or November 19th at 9:30.
I would prefer the 12th.
Either date works for me.
Okay. So 3 o'clock on November 12th, set for an hour. And the new dismissal date will be March 15th.
Thank you. I think for purposes of the record, I have to put, well, no, I think we can just leave it at that. Okay. Anything further from anyone else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then the court's orders today are as follows. I'm going to grant the oral motion for an extension in this case pursuant to chapter 263-401B and find that extraordinary circumstances necessitate the child remaining in the temporary management service of the department and continue the appointment of the department as a temporary management servitor is in the best interest of the child. The court will retain the suit on the court's docket for a period not to exceed 180 days and scheduling a new dismissal date, which Ms. Greenlee has just given us of March 15th, 2025. In addition, the court is setting a trial date on this case of November 12th, 2024 at 3 p.m. November 12th, 2024 at 3 p.m. Court is ordering trial be set at that time. Court is ordering Mr. Pinner and his counsel to appear at that setting. In open court, this is their 45 days notice of trial, and it will be memorialized in a writing signed by me when I receive the order. The court is also making further orders for the temporary orders for the safety and welfare of the child, which I have just stated. We're going to make a permanency hearing out of this as well. Court's going to find that the child's placement is safe, appropriate, meeting needs in her best interest to continue. Court finds that she's up to date on her checkups. There are no concerns with her care at this time. And due to the procedure on the trial, we do not need to take up any issues of visitation or parental progress at this time. For the purposes of the permanency hearing, the mother and the father, Mr. Rodriguez, and the unknown father's rights are all going to be addressed in such a manner that their compliance and progress in the case would be moot as to the permanency hearing. It does not apply. So case is extended. I will grant the department's request based on the evidence provided August 27th and the evidence provided today to find that pursuant to chapter 161.001B1N and 161B10, 161.001B10, that the department has proved by clear and convincing evidence that the mother, Brittany Gomez, instructively abandoned the child who has been in a permanent or temporary managing conservatorship of the Department of Family and Protective Services for not less than 6 months. And the department has made reasonable efforts to return the child to the parents. The parent has not regularly visited or maintained significant contact with the child. And the parent has demonstrated an inability to provide the child with a safe environment. And failed to comply with the provisions of a court order that specifically established the actions necessary for the parent to obtain and return of the child who has been in the permanent or temporary managing conservatorship of the Department of Family Protective Services for not less than 9 months as a result of the child's removal from the parent under Chapter 262 for the abuse and neglect of the child. Court finds that in addition to proving these grounds by clear and convincing evidence, it would be in the best interest of the child to terminate Ms. Gomez's rights on these grounds. For the father, Mr. Rodriguez, court finds that Mr. Rodriguez has executed a waiver of interest as to the child in this case, or has accepted the waiver of interest. What's the statute on that, Mr. McKesco?
Of course, you'd ask, Josh.
I can't remember the number. 161-106. So pursuant to chapter 161-106, the court finds that Mr. Rodriguez signed an affidavit disclaiming any interest in the child and waived notice or the service of citation in any suit to be filed affecting the parent-child relationship with respect to the child. And this waiver is irrevocable at this time. Are you asking for termination based on that?
Just the necessary findings under 106, Judge.
The findings are that he basically signed it. The affidavit was signed and witnessed by 2 credible persons and verified before a person authorized to take oaths. And court accepts that affidavit as to the child and as to Mr. Rodriguez's rights. As to the unknown father pursuant to chapter back to where it was 161.002B3. The court finds that at the time the case was filed, the child was under 1 year old, and that the unknown father failed to register with the registry service, and the court finds that the department has proven by clear and convincing evidence pursuant to 161.002B3 that these grounds exist, and it's in the best interest to terminate the rights of any unknown father. The court will make these orders by interlocutory order, and in doing so, will dismiss Ms. Harris, Mr. Salivar from this suit, find that they have fulfilled their duties satisfactorily to their clients, and we will continue on as ordered to Mr. Pinner on November 12th, 2024 at 3 p.m. So we've covered the extension, we've covered the permanency hearing, and we've covered the interlocutory order and the trial. What have I missed? Anything?
That's it, Judge.
Okay. Thank you all for your help, putting your heads together, helping me figure this out. And I will see you all back November 12th, 2024 at 3 p.m. Nothing further. Thank you all for your time and your service. All parties are excused, and that concludes our docket for today. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Hey, Judge, can I talk to you for a second? Not related to this case, but just after everybody logged off.
That's fine. Let me.
No, Richard. No.